All right, we're back with Dr. Kelly Ryan.
That's great. Thank you.
Vice President Tim Seidel. Yeah, glad you guys are here with us.
Davy Crockett.
Yeah.
That's what's been in my head since you're dying to just get that out.
Since I said that.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think you all can guess who came sing-songing into the studio going, "It's snowing out there." Yeah.
That's nice. That's great.
No, yeah. So it's funny because I listen to a podcast of Old West stories, and this guy covers the lives of people like Davy Crockett, and stuff. And yeah, super interesting. Cool.
Well, no wonder you're having these martial memories when you're visiting your children. Then.
Yeah, that's right.
It's already there.
Well, it is super interesting because I grew up in Wyoming, and a lot of those Old West stories happened in Wyoming and North and South Dakota, and so it's kind of interesting.
Yes.
It absolutely is.
Yeah. So when they talk about they went from the Black Hills to Cheyenne, Wyoming, and there's a lot of distance from there. Yeah, it's like, and you lived? Yeah. Anyhow.
It's like you talking about Texas and I've been down there too in June one time with my brothers in the military, and was thinking, how did they survive down here without air conditioning?
Yeah.
During this, during like when Teddy Roosevelt was down there, it's like must have been really warm.
Yeah. San Antonio was totally off the topic. It's really. Have you been there? Been there before?
I haven't.
Yeah.
No.
They have. I mean, they've done there's a canal that runs through San Antonio, and I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 years ago, they thought, let's make that a tourist attraction. And so
cool.
And so they're. I mean, it's a canal, but they built stores and stuff all along.
It's really neat.
Yeah, it really.
And during Christmas, it's really cool.
Yeah,
they do like carols, sing in the boats.
Yeah,
down
they
the
have
canal.
floats. Yeah, and so now they've extended the canal so that it does loops. And so we can
like
put
a
more
river park.
commerce along the shores and our hotels. And, so and it's weird because in the middle of this sits the Alamo. And so it's just a real head swim. When you get there, it's like, you look at the buildings and it's just hard to imagine that there was nothing,
Yeah.
So anyhow, all right. Well, hey, we're here to talk about EOU though.
Yes.
But we are talking about history.
Of course.
Yes.
Always.
Yeah, that's right.
It's always in my mind.
Yeah, that's right. So I knew you would relate when I talked about Davy Crockett. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
How you doing?
We're doing really well. We're excited right now. Classes ended, finals ended last week. So this week, we're just kind of doing the business of the university, and we hope most of our students are tucked in beds with sugar plum fantasies, and et cetera. And right now we're prepping for winter term.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to welcoming our students back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So, Tim, are there times where, because your area is vice president, it's PR, public relations, and advancement, and anyhow, your area is a little bit separated from the academic day to day. I'm guessing.
We interact, but it's
right. But are there days? I remember. You're in Rotary with me, and I asked you the other day, like, was finals week last week? And there was, for a moment, there was a look on your face like, I think so, because it's not the middle of your job.
I'm not turning in any grades.
Yeah.
So that's a little. Yeah, it's always like, yes, it was this week. To finish it up. And that was last week. So students were able to get all their grades. But faculty are getting things done and all that. But
the reason I bring that up is that. A university you have so many people that are doing. You're there to teach kids and you're there to educate them, but there's a whole ton of stuff that has to be done in order to fulfill that purpose.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah. I imagine when the rest of the university is kind of thinking about finals, Tim's thinking, okay, short sessions happening in a few months. I need to, him and I were meeting with Bobby Levy last week, and he's setting up meetings with Todd Nash, right? So there's that advocacy side of the university, and that's really where Tim sits. And Tim's also a component of that larger larger thing that we hope to kind of discuss with you today, which is how important our community is to us. We really view ourselves as an anchor institution in our community. We want to help in myriad ways. Oftentimes people using our facilities or coming to athletic events or arts, but we also really see ourselves as integral to the community wellness. And so we hope to share with you today some of the ways that that's happening, and it feels particularly opportune because it is the holiday season and all that magic that happens.
Yeah.
One of the things I was most eager to share right at the top was every third Thursday, individuals in our community who need to get access to food can come to campus. Today at 1:30 p.m. in Hoke, our student building on the first floor, anyone from our community, including our own employees and students, can come and get access to food. And it's really high quality food as well. So we really encourage people to open their eyes to some of the stuff you may not think of when you think about EOU. And one of the ways that we really hope to do well is to help people who are in need. And so that's one of the ways that we hope to support community.
So tell me, what will they experience if they come? I mean, do you have food sit on tables and they shop, or I don't know what? Tell me what's going on.
It's a pick and choose. Usually we do our best to offer fresh fruit and vegetables because that is an area of urgent need. People kind of want less processed food as much as possible, but you can get access to those items as well. We try and really be fruit and vegetable forward, and they'll be able to grab a shopping bag and pick items that they need or desire. And no one's going to check your income. No one's going to ask if you're fit or suitable. If you are hungry, we are here for you. Yeah. So.
And where do you guys get the food?
We get it from our distributor, the Fresh Food Alliance, right? And we work with several community partners, including the food bank, to always make sure that EOU, as an institution, that you could walk in and be able to grab something if you're in need. And then for our students, we really offer these kinds of services all year round. We have food pantries situated throughout the community where students can grab a snack, or they can, grab a butternut squash. I don't know why I chose that. Some fresh bread, whatever they need to help, sometimes our students are young and poverty and age do actually go together very often. And so having access to extra items to get through the week when they're working and going to school is really critical to us. And we've been supported by Wild Horse and STCU, our newest bank in our community, to help us be able to deliver food like that to both students and community.
Cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah. So do you personally like being a part of those? I mean,
yes.
There's some energy that I feel coming from you that sounded very mystical, but
it's magical time of year.
Right. But I mean, is that rewarding for you personally?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that there was a time when college presidents were faculty, get your grades in by Wednesday at noon. But I think that much more so the role now is about being part of community and seeing what needs there are and helping to deliver on those, understanding that I have an important role in this community, not only to educate students and make sure that our businesses have talent to help support, what's needed, both, socially, behaviorally, our nonprofit organizations, our businesses, but it's also my job to make sure that EOU is well ingrained, well intentioned, and doing the work that we can do, that we are able to do.
Yeah. Cool.
Yes.
So So what else is going on? I mean, let's talk about Christmas stuff for a minute.
Yeah.
So because the music department just did their Christmas thing not too long. Yeah.
And we had Handel's Messiah on Sunday, and then they just had 2 excellent concerts as well. It always brings in a ton of community.
Yeah.
People really love coming to EOU to celebrate the holidays, but they come just as much in March as they do in December.
Right.
We really try and bring the spirit. We just had our own campus holiday party just after Thanksgiving. And one of the things we do within our community, in addition to the food, that preparing food and sharing food with others is we do a gift drive. So one of the things that we just recently did, and I posted on my LinkedIn, is we asked one of our community partners to give us lists from children in need and parents in need. And each of our community members, each of our EOU faculty and staff, chose tags, and we filled every single child's wish. We found out yesterday.
Oh,
every
wow.
single child that had a request was fulfilled by EOU, and they came and picked up the goods yesterday. And I am delighted to say it took them 3 trips to bring this incredible bounty. And some of this is real items of need. I mean, among the things that arrived in our office over the past couple of weeks, one was, a car seat. That's critical, right? That's
Right.
critical. But there was also fun stuff. Every child deserves some fun and some joy. And
Right.
so there were plush toys and magic books and just helmets and, bike helmets for the little tots. Some had even little, it was wonderful to see our community overflowing with generosity in the ways that that's really at the core of who we are.
One of the things that I appreciate about EOU, and you mentioned it earlier, is the facilities that are resourced and that are available there for the community. And I mean, Rotary, we had our Christmas
luncheon.
there, and then we streamed the Messiah, which was the Messiah Choir and Orchestra, which is a community choir, at McKinsey this last Sunday night. I mean, there's just there's a lot of opportunity for people that are looking for facilities that are available that they might not find anywhere. Do you want to talk about that for a minute?
Well, there's a lot of facilities, right? We're universities, so everything from lecture halls to performance centers like the McKinsey Theater to Quinn Coliseum, where we have all of our athletics, a lot of our athletics events, the Field House. So there's a lot of places on campus, and you can have a wide array of small group to large group meetings. We have the Gilbert Event Center, which has hosted the LaGrande High School prom and major banquets for companies in town, and then the just outdoor space in itself is a welcoming spot. It's neat to go up there and see people on the weekend playing disc golf, because we have this large disc golf course on campus, and just walking around. People bring their children up to ride their bikes around campus. So it really is integrated into the the campus and this community are integrated, and it's hard not to see that. It's just really part of one and the same. So those facilities, you can check those out on our website if anybody ever wants to, gosh, what could I, is there space up there I could rent for an event or something like that? And then we host a lot of those activities because that's part of us helping support the community and giving back and making sure it's accessible.
Well,
it's a great place to take pictures too.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It really is.
gorgeous.
Like if you're, my senior pictures were taken on the stairs, and I make my kids go up there and
you see those all the time. It's really neat to see those
spots,
on people on Facebook and things. And we did their high school, and there's at the Stannard Garden or on the Grand Staircase or somewhere else on campus. It's really neat to see those.
Yep.
Yeah, and not only, when somebody rents a facility, there's food available. There's a ton of services that are available for them also.
Correct.
And so, so if somebody's trying to put together an event and it's like, well, we need a sound system, we need AV support, and we need food, and we need, all of those different facets are available to people who want to put on that event there too.
Yeah. And it's, I would say too, a lot of what we bring in is also helping our community, not just these rental spaces for one-offs, right? Like, so for example, last year, the Supreme Court came through and they had a case, and we invited all the high school kids to come over, and they got to see how law works in Oregon. And, so we had Ways and Means last year as well. And this allowed everyone in Eastern Oregon to come out and let them know what they think needs to be funded, right? So we provide a really critical space for citizenship as well, right? Cliff Benz came and people let him know how they were feeling at the time. And others. Todd Nash has done the same, as has Bobby Levy. So, we play an important role in just interacting with our representatives and our government as well.
If you want to, you can visit our website, and there's eou.edu/events. And find the links all on there for the different spaces. But we just talked about, and as you all know, you have spaces like performing arts areas like McKinsey Theater. We have spaces like the Gilbert Event Center, where we've hosted like the LaGrande High School prom, and a lot of other, and weddings and things like that. We have spaces, of course, that are connected, like with our athletics department, like the field house, which is a huge open space. We've had the Eastern Oregon Summit there. And then spaces, of course, like in Quinn, the stadium. And then we just have meeting spaces and, as you might guess, lecture rooms. So we are able to host all kinds of different events on there, on the campus, and really provide resources for anybody who wants to do it, everything from the catering to just technical.
Yeah. And I would, Kelly, do you feel like that's part of EOU's opportunity to be able to give back?
Yeah, well, I mean, those are fee-for-service opportunities.
Right.
I would say we most often, in terms of the way our facilities are helping community, is, the way that we're providing space for kind of major representatives, civic and industry, for our community to participate in. So, for example, last year, this Oregon Supreme Court came to campus, and several high schools came to watch the way they worked, and they learned about how government actually operates. Last year, we also had, the Ways and Means come through, and Eastern Oregonians got their opportunity to share, hey, this is what needs to be funded. We're out here, and we have real needs, and we have real issues. We also have had interactions with our representatives, making sure that they are responsive to the people that live here. So Todd Nash and Bobby Levy and Cliff Bentz all regularly use our facilities to interact with others. Wyden and Berkeley have historically done so as well, depending on when we're open. We are a vibrant campus. We do have a lot going on, so we can't always host everything, but we certainly believe that we play a role in advancing, civic vitality in our community as well.
Well, and I think, take McKinsey, which has recently been remodeled and redone technically, and it's the most advanced theater in the area as far as technical, and that's a wonderful asset for the community to have available to them in some manner. So.
Absolutely, let alone all the fun shows that
we
already do.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, tell me what else is going on?
While we're also working, of course, for our external community, we also really do a lot of work to support our own students. So, for example, I mentioned that food pantry that, we created gift boxes for students over the holidays and for finals to help them feel pepped up. But Tim's unit does a lot of work raising money for our students and for the university to make sure that they can thrive. The biggest barrier that students have to attending college is finances, and that's where Tim's crew comes in to make sure that our facilities, that we have scholarships for students. And we just had an event on Giving Tuesday that I'm sure Tim would love to share.
Yeah, so Giving Tuesday, the big national one you see, any other nonprofit. We put a goal out there. We've done it last several years. We did one year, a couple of years ago, we did it in partnership with our athletics program, and met and exceeded all of our goals there. This time we did it focused on scholarships and student support, especially around some of these more crisis need areas where students really do need help. And we were able to surpass our goal there as well. We set it and then raised it and then raised it again. And that was really, rewarding to see that come in. People on our own campus are giving to, hey, I want to help students, and then a lot of our alumni and supporters from throughout the area were also giving to it. And those funds go to help keep students at Eastern and graduating. It's not just getting them to come to college, it's keeping them there and helping them be successful so that they can complete that degree and go out and and have a successful life. So that's a big part of what our team does with the foundation and the Alumni Association, our development side of the external things that we do. And it's now rolling into, of course, the end of the year, so there's another opportunity for people to give, really to support those students and those programs that they love. The things you see, like in McKinsey Theater, like when we do the community choirs and the EOU choirs, and that, a lot of that is supported by donations and gifts from folks throughout the community and our alumni who want to make sure that that kind of benefit to the community stays here and continues on, and the fantastic work that our music department and theater departments do that draw people from all over the region. Literally, people come here from John Day and Boise, just to see our shows. And they say, well, I come here because this is it. There's no other really place I can see this kind of thing in the region. But there's also that's what we do as a regional university, is provide that access to not only education but cultural opportunities as well. And that has to be supported somewhat. We don't see the support coming from the state and federal government right now for that, and that's a big issue going into the future. We really need that support.
Now, there's a grant that you guys recently received, right?
Right. Yes, we just got a TRIO grant, an over $1 million grant to help us support students who are first generation, low income, to help them see themselves at the university and belong. And they'll get a little extra support around advising to make sure, as well as study skills and supporting their academic learning. So we have already kicked that off, and we have now two people who have been reassigned working on it and building up this new kind of bastion of support for new first generation students who are entering college who just need a little bit more. And we have some existing programs that have been really successful, so we're trying to marry some of this work together to really create a more supportive environment for our students.
So give me an example of how that program will apply to a student.
Sure. So let's say you are a student from LeGrant and you have decided to attend EOU. Your parents maybe didn't attend college, and of course there's nothing wrong with that, but you see something different for yourself, right? So you decide to attend EOU, and you're going to start your year in a summer bridge program where you're going to learn about all the academic supports that are available to you, tutoring. You're going to learn about class schedules. You're going to learn about financial literacy. You're going to learn about how to deal with roommates, right?
Right.
And then once the school starts and you start taking classes, you're going to have someone who checks in on you regularly, who reaches out and says, hey, can we get together? As you're going through the semester and you're taking your first test, we might have a study session designed just to help you figure out, how do I study for a college test? How do I demystify that? How do I reduce anxiety around test taking? I still get anxiety around test taking, right? You were talking to me about asking me trivia questions, and I was like, please don't. It's scary, right? And so, these are the kinds of things that we'll do for them, but they'll also be part of a cohort, right? Of students like themselves who are integrating learning, and they're building community along the way to make sure that they're successful at the university.
Cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
That's great. They had a good sports season. I'm going to pitch this.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, first in All Sports Cup.
Right.
I don't think they call it the Cup. I think they just call it All Sports Standing.
Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that.
Well, I believe that the things that I've been saying are true. EOU is incredible, right? We have had some big wins, and we have incredible students. We have incredible coaches. Top of everyone's mind right now is volleyball, right? Making it all the way to the semifinals, an incredible game. Tim and I were actually in Portland at the time, doing some business there, and we were at a networking event, and we're just running over to Tim's phone. How's the team doing? An incredible year. Coach Kaki Moorhead is obviously an exemplar, coach exemplar, winning two Coaches of the Year nominations. Students also All-Star, regional All-Stars. So an incredible year. Cross country is always great. I think they were 7th at nationals, 7th and 22nd, men's and
That's
women's.
exactly right.
Oh, yep, there she goes. Some trivia I'm getting this morning, right? And then soccer also did an incredible job this year. 3 coaches winning Coaches of the Year. And of course, all of our student athletes are really engaged deeply, in balancing their studies and their athletic excellence. So it's a really great year for EOU.
I don't know if we can count Ben as Coach of the Year anymore. He has so many
So
of
many.
them. It's just like, okay, here's another. It's almost expected.
Yeah, you kind of feel bad for the other guys, though, right?
Yeah,
You're like, will I ever see that award?
It was a really good fall for EOU, definitely. Obviously you have the little takeaway. There's a huge important decision coming up though, and you don't have to talk about that, but I'll just add it. The football coach job is a big job at EOU. You know what I
it
mean?
is.
It's very important to a lot of people in this community.
Yeah. And we're so grateful for the way that Tim Camp has filled that role. 52 of his students were academic all-stars and that's incredible. And he has turned boys into men through that
100%.
program. So we're so grateful to him. We've already started receiving a ton of applications. So
That's good.
people are excited about the role and we're excited about the future.
That's awesome.
It's another one of those campus community connections. I'll tell people, if you want to come into a football game that's before classes even start, right? Because we play some of these semester schools, so we're having games like in mid-September.
Yeah.
And people say, "Was anybody show up for us?" I say, "Yeah, come on up and check it out. The stands are full of community members because they love to go out and watch the games. And what a more beautiful setting, right? Whether you're up there for a LeGrand High School football game or a soccer game, or you're up there for an EOU football game, just on a clear day, it's just gorgeous. We love having people come up and they just stop, especially if they haven't been there before, and are just blown away by the views, the quality of the facilities, and then just how great the teams work.
Yeah. This fall was absolutely the most beautiful fall ever.
Right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was just every game that I did was just like I remember being cold one time all fall, which is not very normal.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it was very, it was a great space.
it really was.
And we're fortunate, so many of our athletic alum stay engaged with the university. And, we've received several gifts this year that are trying to think forward about what EOU facilities can do to serve teams. I know one of your favorites is of course, baseball, Kyle. And so, thinking about what could the future look like with, us not having to go down to the community, what could we do to build our own space? And of course, Coach Nicole is a phenomenon in and of itself. And of course, we want to continue to support her and her girls. And I don't know if you want to share anything about those gifts.
Yeah, well, that whole corner of campus up on 6th and
I've
C,
seen the blueprint.
right?
for it.
Yeah, you've seen the blueprint. There's plans to be able to pull that together, and that's part of a comprehensive campaign that we're developing. But the big part of it is, the state doesn't provide resources for that. They don't go, here you go. We can get some monies from them, but a lot of it is going to come from folks who want to support what we're doing and see the growth out there. And we've had some fantastic alumni who stepped up and said, I want to make sure that happens. So I'm going to help support that. And again, that's for literally we're talking about facilities here. So we want a competition level field.
Yeah, we need to be able to host.
Right? We need to be able to
national
host
games.
Right, national games.
It's that simple.
And we need to fix up our softball field. The softball team does an amazing job, and our facilities crew do an amazing job trying to take care of that. But there's a high water area up there, so we need to fix some of that so that the team can play there, particularly in the early spring. As a lot of alumni around here know, and people have been, there was a reason for years it was called Snowflake Field, our original baseball field, because it would snow while you're up there playing, early March.
I've played
April.
baseball in the snow on that field before.
So there's something to be. It's same with our football field. We had to get to a turf field because we can use it now. And then look at how many other teams we're able to host people playing from all over the region. These small teams can come up and play, as well as we can host, conference and playoff games. But we need to get that baseball field produced and set up. So that's in the plans. That's definitely what we're working on, and that gift and others that we're looking to have come in will help us make that happen and bring that to fruition. And how fantastic it will be to have baseball back on campus.
Yeah, a great example of that is when you're competing on a national level, you're nationally ranked. It's a huge disadvantage to have to start your home games a month later than everybody else.
Right.
People don't think about that. Like EOU, if it's even a little bit wet, we have to go over and play our home games in Pendleton or in Hermiston or wherever.
Yeah.
And so you're not getting your home support, and especially softball wise, the support has just
taken off.
Increased a ton since
right.
Nicole
There's
came
parking
back.
problems up there during softball games.
Yeah,
I love going because it's just people
So
are there
fun.
to watch the games and see how.
It wasn't
great
like
team
that
is.
her first year back though.
No, it wasn't. She's done amazing.
Yeah,
to,
she
to
really
bring that
has.
team
What
around.
was that game? I think the most fun game I've attended at EOU is the one where I think it was like 15 innings against SOU. I mean, what an incredible! I'm like,
it's probably the best game I've ever been to.
yeah, they had to close it. Like we had to shut it down. I mean, it was just an
going too
incredible
long.
night. And speaking of facilities, one of, I think, the highlights of this year athletics too was that partnership we had with LeGrand in hosting volleyball, and our own team playing that evening, plus all the teams playing at LeGrand, playing at EOU. I mean, I think it really goes to show you how we are really embedded in community. We're hosting high school at our collegiate facility.
Yeah, what great exposure for EOU volleyball too. I mean, you have high school girls coming; they're going to come watch. Anybody that's not playing at that time, which is none of them because the court was being used. Right. So, how many high school girls came to that game and got to watch Khaki and the ladies play?
Right. Yeah, and play too, and then say, "Ooh,
maybe I
could play
here."
Yeah, exactly.
At the same time, I will say, I hope they already know.
We
are doing so well. They better know.
Khaki already had at least 2 of them signed in that game.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
It. Yeah.
But still, there's a very special thing that happens when you're on a campus, maybe for the very first time, or you're on a campus that you haven't been on.
Yes.
It's like, I mean, I mean, you know it. You just, it's a feeling that you cannot duplicate any other way.
Yeah, and you know what? If you look at like enrollment funnels, which you wouldn't want to do because that's not probably an area of interest to you, but that's one of the kind of linchpins to whether or not someone attends a university is have they been on the campus.
Yeah.
Once they're there, they get to meet people. They see what we have to offer. They see that we have world class faculty. No one's going to care about you quite like our faculty are. It really makes a difference.
Well, and you, as a student, you're able to visualize yourself in that environment.
Yes.
And you can't do that without being there. It's like, I don't know, when I go to a trade show sometime and it's technological and stuff, and it's like, I see a peak of ourselves or us in that environment, and it expands your possibilities, your mind. So anyhow.
Yeah, and that goes back to why it's so great to have. We forgot, mention that we'll have like the FFA students from all over the region. The FBLA groups will come to campus, and that's just another set of students who get an opportunity to come here. Some of them, they've been here multiple times, and so it becomes part of like, well, of course I want to go to Eastern. It's a lot more comfortable for me to be up there. But if they can see themselves in that space, and we know from our research and students and our admissions folks, that if they can get students on campus, they get here. It's wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, probably your best marketing tool.
Yeah,
it really
so
is.
One of the top ones.
Well, and the Shrine Kids during the summer.
Right.
I mean,
another
again,
one.
a perfect example. And you've got a great story about a kid needing some cleats and.
Oh yeah, and a Tim Camp story.
Yeah.
That just talks to his character a little
Yeah.
bit. This was maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and the community is kind of had camp. They're torn about him, right? But the thing that separates him from as a good coach to me is how much he cares about the kids, right?
Oh yeah.
And there was a kid that was from the west side of the state. He was practicing. His cleat tore apart, right? You're 4 hours from home. You don't have backup cleats. I called within 15 minutes, he had me a pair of cleats for that kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
That's
that to me is I mean, you can't replace that.
that's small
it's
school
really
athletics,
hard to.
right? Yeah.
And all of our student athletes are kind of behave that same way. They're doing thousands of community service hours in our community as just part of their what our coaches train them to do is just make it a daily habit, make it a monthly habit that you are giving back, and that's part of character development. That's part of that transformational experience. Yes, you are going to learn how to work hard and you're going to learn new material, but at the same time, we're forming characters.
Champions of character.
Right, and when we talked about camp turning boys into men,
Yes,
and I think you said 50 of those
52.
kids over the years, are, I don't know, what was that description?
Academic all-stars.
I mean, that's
it's not just
that will
about,
stay with them forever.
Oh, yeah.
That will be a part of their kids. I mean,
That's
that's generational change. It really is.
Yep.
So, the Oregonian wrote an article, right? Not too long ago.
Yes.
Talk to us about that story.
Go ahead.
This is great news for EOU, and this is great news for Oregonians, right? So the Oregonian wrote about what is the impact of college right now. If you listen to your basic Twitter feed or X, or YouTube or TikTok, people are going to tell you that college isn't worth it anymore. Well, guess what? It is. What they did is they studied the wages of those with high school who stopped out at high school and those with college degrees, and there is a 70% differential, a 70% differential between a high school diploma and a college degree. And I think what is critical for folks to understand, particularly in this community, is that EOU is among our top performers in wages. So often when I'm out in community, people will kind of ask me questions that lead me to believe they think that EOU is like a second-class institution, right? But no, actually, we're second in income for our students who graduate across the state among all 7 public universities. Only OIT, which has engineering degrees, are undergraduates earning more than students at EOU. What does this mean? We're building character, we're building skills, and that our students are also using their time wisely while they're at university, building up resumes, right? Making sure that they're competing in the marketplace. So I hope everyone really kind of thinks about that a little bit, right? What does it mean when you're choosing another school over EOU? Because I wouldn't think about wages. We're doing a really good job, better than most in our community. Yeah.
Yeah, if you say 70%, that means that if you graduate high school, you make 50,000. You graduate college, you're making 85.
That's right.
I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah.
Big, yeah. And over your lifetime earnings are substantially higher than that. Your opportunities for unemployment are extremely lower, much lower than that. So it does, and that's what builds our communities, right? That's where the coaches of the world and the teachers and the doctors and the lawyers. We have people go to Eastern and they go out and get their medical degree and they come back to LeGrand to work at Grand Island Hospital. There's people that want to be, and they do the same thing in Baker City. They want to come to Eastern. They want to go back and teach or work and lead in that community or in John Day or Vail or wherever. And that's the resource that we are, and that's what we do. And those our admission rates to like graduate schools, to medical schools, veterinary schools are extremely high, and that just leads to you're gonna have a good job when you graduate from Eastern. Yeah. You're gonna be able to go out in your community and make a really good wage. And that's critical. People want to know what's the value of that. Well, there's all the things you learn when you go to a university, all the things you get exposed to. Not a lot of other places in Eastern Oregon would you get exposed to like Pacific Islanders. And you may have that person sitting, next to you in class that is from a very small tropical island. But you might also be from a very small rural community that's kind of like it's on an island, and you have a lot of things. You find you have a lot of things in common suddenly, and but you get that exposure and you understand the larger world around you and how it works and interacts. But also then you go out and you take that experience. We hear it all the time when we're talking to alumni we're out in the region talking to folks, and they say, "Oh man, I went to school there. This is what I experienced. This is what I did, and this is why I came back to my community to share that and make my communities successful." And that's why we continue to invest in those kinds of programs.
And LeGrand School District's fortunate too, though, because a lot of college kids that are in the teaching program are athletes as well.
Yeah.
And so they're being taught this champion of character. Their student teaching, which
right here.
There's tons of them. I can name you probably 10 of them right now. And they're passing that on to young people in this community.
Yeah.
And a lot of them stay too.
They do.
I mean, it's just crazy the amount of people that end up staying here.
You have a great program that produces great, student teachers. The school district's smart. They're saying,
"Yeah, come on,
you come and why don't you? We have an opening here. Why don't you come and work for us?"
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, and that grow your own thing that is happening in so many different areas, and I mean that is so powerful. Whether that be in nursing or any other teaching or any other area, you guys, EOU and Grand Ron Hospital, and every institution is struggling to hire qualified people that want to live in a rural place like Eastern Oregon. Yeah. There is no better match for them than somebody who is from here, who was trained, and they come back and serve. Right. I mean, I can think of several of those stories, and I love those because it's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you have a 100-year event coming up, right?
Yeah.
In 2029?
Yes. We were founded in 1929 as a teachers college, and in 2029 we will celebrate that 100-year anniversary. As of today, we have over 400 graduate students.
Wow.
So the university has really taken off in the way we deliver services, the way we support community, and the way our alumni speak out and speak back in our community and help drive economic innovation. So we're really looking forward to it. We're building to that moment. A lot of that work actually ends up in Tim's shop, so I'll let you.
Yeah. It's people say, "Oh, that's like several years off." Why do you? Well, you need to start planning for these things now.
You do.
And that's what we're really. I mean, the president's been like, we need to. Let's get. Of course, history doesn't hurt. Have somebody who understands that stuff really well, and so we're putting together a campus-wide team to help plan all those activities. We have fantastic assets already with some just wonderful people around town who've really done a great job of even just taking photographs. And then we have these archives, and they're in the archives. We now have the archives for the old LeGrand Observer that are over time, and you would get there's tons of photos and things like that in there. But also just the history of the change and the shifts, right? We were doing things like training pilots in World War II, up at the LeGrand, at the campus, right? And then those people were going off and leading, the United States in a major, World War II. But then we also have done, really innovative things as well, like expansion of our science center and into our STEM programs, and some innovative new programs like our health and human performance. It's people don't even realize that we've had Olympians on campus to work with our faculty because they're that good. And so those kinds of things we want to bring forward in this celebration of really where we've come from. We were all in one little building in 1929 in Inlow Hall that had everything in it, from the president's office to a small gymnasium, believe it or not, to the teaching classes and the band and the art department and everything was in there. And we slowly expanded out, and that has been something that's been that growth that has been really about what we're doing. We started out as a teacher school.
Yeah, Eastern Oregon Normal School.
That's right, Eastern Oregon Normal. And then went through all those fun changes, Eastern Oregon College, Eastern Oregon College of Education, Eastern Oregon State College. That's, when I graduated, it was EOSC.
Yep.
And then, changed to a university, an expansion and growth of our programs. So we want to celebrate all that, but it's important we look back on that history and what's taken place there. We've in our upcoming magazine that we're going to be publishing, we went out and talked to some of our our faculty emeriti, the retired, and what they were doing now and what they remember about campus. And it's interesting that they all talk about the same thing, and it's that sense of community. They talk about it was that sense of community with the university, with the town, with the students that they served, and with their own faculty peers, and how they see that still happening to this day. And that's, I think, part of it. Probably an underlying theme is going to be really about community.
And as we, move closer and closer to the centennial, we're going to be kicking off a campaign to fundraise for the university to make sure that its future is just as bright as the history, making sure that we have funds to innovate, that our students are supported in their financial journeys to fund their degrees, and that our facilities remain top-notch in a state where, again, 46 in the nation, it's just quite simply not cutting it. And our students deserve more, and our community deserves more. I want to give a shout out to one organization that I had the pleasure of meeting with on Tuesday, who are just huge boosters of EOU. On Tuesday, I was delighted to be part of POU's holiday party. These are women, there's 3 chapters in our community, who have been donating year after year, supporting individual students at EOU in their financial journey towards getting their degree. And we just had an incredible night talking about where EOU is now versus when many of them went there, but also their hopes and dreams for the university. Yeah, what we're doing now is great, but we can do even more when we're funded adequately. So we're really looking forward to the future.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate it. One more thing. So this afternoon at 1, you might pitch that one more time?
Yeah, at 1:30, please
1:30,
join us
yeah.
on campus in Hoke, which is our student community building on the first floor. If you're in need of food, Fresh Alliance will be there distributing food for you. And please check out our website. We're often doing these foods. It's every 3rd Thursday of the month, and we are here for you. Thank you.
Excellent. Hey, thank you guys for being here.